Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Xbox Life episode 478, Sea of Anger. I am one of your
Arr.
hosts, Mark, aka Wingman 709, and that piratey growl you heard was my buddy Rob.
Welcome to the sea of happiness and bliss on my end of the microphone. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Rob, also known as Prestar. Hello.
Oh, I know why you got happiness and bliss because you didn't play Sea of Thieves. That's why. You can listen to us live every week on Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube, all at the same time on Sundays, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Pacific. So let's jump into it. Rob, what have you been playing?
Just played some Fortnite, and there's a couple of times where I was this close to starting Far Cry 5, and I was just so exhausted. I was like, I'm just going to curl up on the sofa, put on some TV, and like close my eyes, cover myself with a blanket, and like listen. Work is freaking killing me, and I just don't have the strength to even like play much of anything. But I did play a little bit of Fortnite, and then also I went back to Wolfenstein 2, and it was also Wolfenstein, and it was also a pleasure, a distinct pleasure to go around and hit the X button to pick everything up. I enjoy that so much.
Whatever. Oh, man.
So that's about it for me. How about you?
I had a couple, 2-3 items. First, of course, is Gems of War, Sea of Thieves, which I'm gonna save that conversation for later, and that is the last time that this will be on my list. I played some City Skylines tonight, actually. Man, that's like complicated. I remember playing SimCity back in the day, and it's essentially the same thing. My kids, actually, my two boys were in watching, and I think they're going to be probably booting it up in the family room here, probably in the next day or two.
Sure.
They were pretty interested in it, but yikes, it's like it's tough, You're trying to lay out stuff, and
There's a lot to it.
there is. You're trying to think big, and yeah, doesn't quite work that way.
Back in the day when we had games like, I don't know, Seven Cities of Gold. Do you remember that one from the Commodore 64
Oh
at
wow,
all?
yeah.
This is going way back. Yeah, back in the day, games were simple. When it was just like, make your people happy, it's like you just turned the frowny face to smiley face or whatever it was. Now you have to manage like entertainment and taxes and pollution and noise and I don't know, weather, who knows what. You have to manage like all this stuff. It's so complicated. And way back. Yeah, back in the day.
All right.
Yeah. That was back in the day, like 30 seconds ago.
No, I had to. Excuse me. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be a rough show. I gotta find my mute button over
to mute your.
Yeah, because I can't mute through Skype when I'm hosting. I think it still picks it up because it's recording the PC audio. So I apologize. Right. You won't hear that again. I now have my other mute button. But Rob, I don't know if you're probably not aware of this, but Andrew, our buddy from Australia, is watching us on YouTube, and he just chatted, "Hi guys, watching you from a bullet train in China.
Nice.
Current speed 214 miles per hour."
Very cool.
So TXL is cruising fast, baby. That is awesome. Andrew, I can't believe you're watching us live on a bullet train in China.
That's sweet.
At that speed. That is incredible. That's so cool.
I think that's a first as far as we know, right? For the show.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, first of all, it might be the first time we're being broadcast or listened in China. I don't know how many people from China listen to us.
There's some.
But that's awesome. And on a bullet train at that speed. Yes. That is just super cool. That must be some killer internet on that train. So
I can't imagine like the cell tower handoff being very good.
yeah, I don't
If
know,
you're
man.
using the cell network.
It must just
But
be constantly changing. Like, I mean, as fast as you're going, you must be just switching
yeah.
towers like every minute.
Hmm.
So, so
So
cool.
actually, what does that wind up being? Like, so what, 200 miles divided by 60 minutes? What is that, like 3.3 miles a minute?
It's
So
it's
that's,
it's cruising.
yeah.
It's fast. So that's really cool. And he's
Hmm.
chatting. So
Yeah, very nice.
all right. Okay, and I also played Far Cry 5. I actually finished the game, and
Oh, wow.
well, man, I that ending is I still don't know what to think of it. It was not what I expected, and I'm not going to talk about it because it's still too new of a game. Maybe in a couple more weeks we'll give some time, but it's a long game. But um, it's not anything like I expected. It ended very different than what I thought it was going to be, and I honestly I'm not sure what to think about it. Um, so yeah, I don't know what to think about it, but if anybody's finished it, wants to talk, hit me up sometime on Xbox Live. We can talk about it. So very interesting. If you're like, oh, it's gonna have its typical Far Cry ending, no, that's not true.
Okay.
All right, and then I also so that's what I played. I also wanted to mention, Rob, and this doesn't have to do with any playing games, but and I'm curious if you've seen this. I went and saw Ready Player One the other night.
Oh, very cool.
And so now I've never read the book. I
Okay,
had
I have.
okay, I had no idea what this was about.
Hmm.
I know it was. I've heard this
Oh,
book
really? So
named.
you went in cold. I mean, you had no.
I had no idea.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
all I knew is like all gamers seem to think this is like their Bible, right? The Holy Grail of video game technology books or whatever. I didn't even know. I just know a lot of gamers are very familiar with this book.
Oh,
And
you,
then
you mean like in that world that's the like Bible, or oh, I see what
no, no,
you're
no.
saying.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
in real
gamers
life,
like it.
like
Yeah,
gamers love
gamers
it. It's
like
like
the
this is
story.
great. Oh, it's the greatest thing,
Yeah.
right? And I
Hmm.
saw the trailer for it when it came out, and I was like, huh? I had this like, what? I'm like, what the heck is that? I don't even know what this is about. This looks dumb. It doesn't make any sense. I have, and I really didn't have a desire to see it at all. And the wife and I wanted to go out the other night, and we were looking at what was in the movies, and we had gone a couple weeks ago to see something, and that trailer played, and she actually said, "Oh, that looks interesting." And I just looked at her, like, "Huh?" Because
What?
I'm the one that's supposed to like this, and I don't get it. It doesn't even look interesting to me. So we ended up going, and I was a little concerned because it was like the earlier show was just packed, and we didn't want to sit in the front row. So we ended
Right.
up going to like the 9:50, and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna be getting out at like 12:30 at night. We probably are gonna fall asleep. We're old. We go to bed early."
Yeah, you are.
It was funny because she's like, "Wow, we're really stepping out of our element by being out so late," because we just don't do that. If
Yeah.
it's 10 o'clock, man, we're home and in bed. But so we went, and neither one of us fell asleep, which for my wife's pretty amazing. She sits down to watch TV and she usually falls asleep. And I do too if I'm on our couch. But I come out of that movie and I was just like, this was one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Really?
It was amazing. I loved it. And it was nice because I had no idea what to expect.
Sure.
It was so exciting, so cool. I mean, you're seeing so many references to, stuff in the past. I mean, I'll bet you there was stuff that I missed. There was stuff going by so quick, and I was trying to, there's Master Chief, and there's all
Oh,
these
yeah.
different,
Yeah.
like, iconic video game characters, and I think it was, I don't know God of War franchise, but I think it was Kratos from God of War. I think he was in there. I don't know if that's the right person, but If I think that's who that was. But I mean, there was just like all these stuff, but it was beyond all that. There was a bunch of 80 references and stuff, which were cool. But the story itself and like how it relates, like my wife was even like, she's like, that's really, she's like, that's kind of sad to think because that's kind of where society is and how we're all plugged in and we're kind of dealing with stuff like that with our kids. We gave them cell phones, our two oldest cell phones recently, and our youngest got an iPod, and they're just like, boom, it's like, uh, this is the way we see them run around with this phone in front of their face constantly, and it's just like, okay, turn it off. It's like if we didn't say anything, they would be looking at it from the moment they got up till the moment they went to bed. It's like,
Sure.
no, put it down, put it away, turn it off, and it's a constant battle, and it's just like, you know, and then we go see this movie, and my wife's like, I want our two oldest kids to see this,
Oh, wow.
and I'm like, yeah, but they're not going to get that part. But it's the message of the movie. She loved it, and she's like, she thought it was sad, because in a way we're going there. I mean, we already, the VR stuff's coming in, and if anybody says, well, it'll never get to that point, I think you're kind of missing something because first of all, we could very easily be there. People are already invested. I mean, look at myself. I look at how much time I play on games and how much time people in general put into phones. They're always on their phone. They're tied to that thing. You can't go without it now, right? Put your phone
Yeah,
down for one day and see if you can survive, you know?
it's such a huge time sink. Like,
It is.
even just thinking like Facebook, for example, where I actually I took Facebook off my phone because, not that I would post a whole lot, but you're kind of like any idle moment. You're sitting there, you're like flipping through. Oh, look at this. Oh, so and so is over here. They ate
Yeah.
this. It's like, oh, look at this tech article. Because, it curates some news, so I get like tech, gaming news, and Xbox stuff. So, so you get all that. And if you like look at how much time you actually spend looking at it, it's appalling. I mean, it's just
It
horrible.
is.
And so actually, I still left it on my phone, but I took it off of the front page
Right.
so you're not reminded to go into it. And even though time is precious, I don't have enough time to do everything that I want to do. I have just a little bit more time now.
Yeah, you gained a couple of yeah, but it is. The movie was really good.
Yeah,
So I would encourage people, like, you don't have to be a gamer to go see this movie. Oh, and I got to bring this up too. I'm gonna side derail a little bit
sure.
because I want to know your opinion. And I told her I was gonna say this. So we're driving home and we're having a conversation, and she tries to tell me that she's not a gamer.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
And I'm like,
I know
wait a
where this is going.
minute. I said, you were sitting in the theater because we got there early. I said, you were sitting in the theater playing a game on your phone. Now, I'm the gamer and I didn't. I was sitting there watching the intro stuff and I was trying to talk with her. I'm on a date, so I'm going to leave my phone away. And I'm like, you were sitting there playing a game on your phone. She's like, well, that's different. I said, no, 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 no.
Mm-mm,
You play on
mm-mm.
your iPad all the time. I said, you play board games, right? Well, that's not what a gamer is, And then so we had this kind of like discussion. And I get her point. Today, when people say the term gamer, they are, I think, for the most part, referring to video gamers. But I'm like, well, what were you doing on your phone? That was a video game. And she kind of like, oh, whatever. She didn't want to she did not want to admit, and she did not admit
Yeah,
that
no.
she's a gamer.
So I've had this conversation in the past as well. And, I was I was told that, you know, I'm addicted to games, whatever it is. It's like, you're just in this so much, like everything you do, it's like you have a problem. And the person that was telling me this, I actually said, you know what? Yeah, I've got a lot of games, got a lot of board games, a lot of Xbox games, but at most, I'll play maybe a couple hours, like on average, I'll play like maybe a couple hours a week at best. Like, especially now, it might be a little bit later, just so busy. But a couple hours a week. And the person that was just telling me this, that did not consider themselves a gamer, easily spends 4 or more hours a day playing on their phone. And
Oh,
again, does not consider themselves a gamer. Now, I have a distinction for this, and that's that people think of gamers as somebody who, like you kind of said, is hunkered down in front of the TV and they're playing Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, whatever it is. However, they might not be, let's say, a hardcore gamer, but they're a casual gamer. But a gamer is a gamer, right?
right.
So the fact that you might play Candy Crush, Words with Friends, whatever, that is a game that counts.
Yeah, and
As much as you're in denial.
she even tried to say, yeah, but I only play the, like the single player stuff. And I thought, you've played Word with Friends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you play board games. You don't play a board game by yourself. You play card games with the kids. You've played Rock Band with me. Yeah, she's not like big into the console stuff, but she kind of thinks that because she doesn't do console gaming like myself and the kids,
Or
that
regularly.
she's not.
Right.
But she plays games every day on her phone or on her iPad.
Sure.
Even if you only do it for 30 minutes a day, you still play every day. How can you say you're not a gamer?
Right. That's a gamer in denial. Embrace
exactly
your inner gamer. See, I think there's a stigma is on, man, whoa. Going back a couple of years ago, on one of the earliest episodes of this board game life, we actually talked about the stigma of board games. And I think that this can actually apply of the stigma of being a gamer. Where it's like if you are in a room, like let's say, okay, Mark, let's say you're at a work, I won't say work function or event, but let's say you're in a conference room with maybe a dozen people. All right. This is for your job. If, everybody goes around the table, let's say 20 people, they go around the table, introduce themselves a position, and say a little bit about themselves. And you go, hi, my name's Mark. I'm a cool guy. I do stuff for work sometimes, and I love to play games. What do you think people's thoughts would be? They'd be like, oh, he's a gamer.
Yeah.
It's like a negative connotation, but why?
Right.
Why? There doesn't need to be. There's, there's, it's like, if that, why is that bad? And let's say somebody who spends 8 hours a day at the corner bar. I mean,
exactly. Yeah, that's like society accepts that more than us.
Yeah. That's being social, but you're antisocial and you're playing games. It's like, no, it doesn't need to be that way. That's all stupid. It's all screwed up. And the thing is that it's not, I'll say the people that play the games that are at issue. It's the people that are in denial about it.
Exactly, because everybody plays games.
Sure.
The majority of people do at some point. I'm sorry, it's not your hardcore people that are playing Candy Crush. It's all the people who aren't gamers that are dumping thousands of dollars into Candy Crush. So, yeah.
And I bet a lot of our listeners have also run into this stuff. Actually, I'm curious. So there's going to be a post that I'm going to put up probably Monday on the Facebook group when I actually do go to Facebook on my computer, not my phone. When I go over there and I post the show on there, and I'm just curious, or maybe we'll start a separate thread. I'd like to see people's experiences, maybe let us know and maybe we'll read some of this stuff. Because to me, this is sort of interesting.
Yeah.
Just society and how they react. Let us know if you run into this. Well, I'm not a gamer, or people kind of ostracize you because you like games, because you have a hobby. It's like, really? Come on.
Yep.
So yeah, we derailed this quite a bit, but
that's all right. But one other thing too that I thought of too, there was something in the movie where the guy made a comment about how his friends were in the Oasis. The main guy, the main character. Okay. He when he was talking about
Wade Watts.
Wade Watts. I think that's right. That sounds right. And he's he made a comment about his friends. You know, his friends are in the Oasis, which is basically in
Oh
this
yeah.
virtual online world. And I was like, kind of thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? I think I have more virtual friends than real friends, you know, that, you
Hmm.
know, like around me. Like I spend more time talking and gaming with friends from around the world that I've never met than I actually do go out and do stuff with, you know, friends, you know, around my neighborhood type of thing. And
Sure.
so I'm like, yeah, see, and I'll bet you a lot of people are that way. You know, if they really were honest about it and thought about it, it's like, you know, not everybody. And we're probably a smaller group of people, maybe, that have a lot of friends online. Because I know, like you and I, we have a lot because of the podcast. Um,
Hmm.
but it's, you know, when I think about friends, I do consider like a lot of people I game with, you know, like Carbide, for example. I've never met the guy. He lives in Canada, but I consider him an actual friend. We have talked so much. We have played games so much. You know, we're actually friends on Facebook too. So I've seen pictures of his family and his kids, and you know, it's just like, yeah, we're not, you know, we're not friends. Okay, we've never met, right? How can you be friend? But that's the way the world is with social media and stuff. People do have more friends, and you know, I've met Jesus from Horrible Gamers. I've met
The real
him.
one? Oh,
I've
okay.
someday I'll meet the real one.
Yeah.
But I've met
Hopefully
Jesus
not for a
Walks a
while.
lot from
Yeah.
you know, from Horrible Gamers. I've actually met him twice. The last time I met him, I got he brought along Pinpoint Red, who's a big fan in their community, and I've met him. I've met, you know, we've both have met Brun. You know, I met Brun through here. I met
Hmm.
Moronic Cow through Xbox Podcast. You know, I've met him in real life and stuff. So, you know, there are
And
people
Commander
I've
Sisson
met.
also, right?
Yeah, I met him. Yeah, and
Actually, we
him and
both
I are actually
I met him.
became real friends
Yeah.
and still are to
Yeah.
this day. He still calls me. I'll give him a call. We actually spend more time talking on the phone than we actually do gaming
Yeah.
because he's considering crossing back to the dark side again. So I might have to remove him from my friends list, but
Okay.
but that's another story. But um,
Yes.
yeah, it's just like, you know. So there's a, you know, so if anybody's like, oh, that movie, it's just Hollywood. It's so unrealistic. Where are we today? You got to look at all these different
Yeah.
pieces. Yes, we don't have the Oasis where we put the virtual headset on and we're running around in this, but that's not that unrealistic, and it's not that far away. You know, that's the
Yeah.
thing. And when you do get to that point, it's kind of scary. This movie kind of is like, wow, you know, it's a great movie. So even if you're not a gamer, I highly recommend you go. And again, my wife's, remember, her own words, she's not a gamer. She liked the movie. Um, you know, she said it was very entertaining, but it, you know, also the story was very interesting to her. So
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. But anyways,
Yeah. So I've seen the movie and I've also read the book. And I could say that from a nostalgia factor, the book has more to it. So it does call, like, if you grew up as like a gamer, I'll say, like, in the 80s, probably also some 90s as well. You know, you did your gaming back then, it goes into a lot of it. And the movie, I think, was modernized a little bit so it could also appeal to younger audiences as well. And, they might not get the old, Space Invaders. I'm just using that as a little
right.
example. They might not get it because they're not really familiar with the game, although they might be because it's in some arcades now in a new form. But yeah, there's a heck of a lot more nostalgia, and there's actually a lot more to the book. So I would say, like, if you want, get the book or get it on audiobook
I bought the book
format,
yesterday.
the actual physical
I
book.
I actually bought the physical book. I
Dude, that
I
is so 80s.
I
Get it in
well,
the
hey,
ground.
I still don't like audiobook.
Yeah.
I've never done an audiobook, and I don't think that I would, because like I listen to podcasts and
Hmm.
it's like more background, so I tend to like, I'll be like, what did they say? You know, and I have to go back 5-10 minutes or something and replay because it's like I'm focusing something else. All of a sudden, I don't even hear it. So You know, and I've done digital books, but I don't really like them. I like a physical book.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So I bought one, and I will attempt to read it.
It's good. Attempt. You
Attempt.
make no promises.
No promises.
Yeah, because I think the audiobook is, I think that's narrated or read by Will Wheaton.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think that's how they said it on Family Guy. I thought he did it, if I remember right. But it's good. It's a good story, and I will add to what you're saying, what you said a couple minutes ago, that you know, we 10, 20 years from now, whenever it is, we might not be in that same situation. However, I totally know what you mean by the limitations of distance are no longer a factor in friendships.
Yeah.
It used to be like, I remember when I was little, we'd call my grandma in Europe, and well, she was in Europe, but we weren't calling her from Europe, but we're calling to Europe. But anyway, so we were calling her, and it was a huge ordeal to make the phone call. It was expensive. It went over satellite. There was echo. There was delay, terrible quality. That's all gone.
Yep.
Now we instant message, we text. Everybody's got a cell phone. You can call anybody in the world in one way or another, phone, Skype, or whatever. You can talk to them instantly. And
Andrew's on a freaking train in China going 214 miles an hour, and he's chatting with us as we're broadcasting live.
That's right. We got China, we got Chicago, we got Seattle. I mean, this is like multi-continent, and it's also like somebody from Australia in China.
Right.
So it's even more mixed to it.
I know.
And, you left Chicago years ago. Like, what was it, about 11 years ago, 12 years ago almost?
I left in 2010, 8 years ago.
Oh, 2010? Okay. So yeah, 8 years ago, you left Chicago, and we're still able to maintain a friendship, even though, now 2 states later, you're further now than you ever were from me. Actually, no, I take that back, because Europe and the Middle East were further. But,
yeah.
But even then, didn't we communicate with ICQ or something? I thought, or at least email.
No, because when I was over there, man, I had nothing. I had no phone, no internet, nothing. So,
yeah.
In fact, I never even got on the internet until I returned from overseas.
Mm-hmm. So you're like, this is amazing. But so yeah, times are different, and it's tough to it's tough to say what's going to happen, but VR's coming around the corner. I mean, it's here. It's kind of a novelty right now, but I'm sure they're going to make it better, and it's going to be way more interesting. And look now, we have Xbox Live. That's kind of like our Oasis, I guess, to some degree. It's here in its rudimentary form.
Well, we have avatars, right, on Xbox that quote represent us. So, it's now we just need to virtualize it with a headset.
Them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
or like the new animojis or emoji things that like the phones have.
Yeah.
That's the first step. But yeah, Ready Player One, excellent.
Excellent. All right, so we're gonna move on. You can support us at Patreon. Go to thesxboxlife.com/Patreon. And a thanks to Adam Sunday for becoming a patron. We really appreciate that. You can also, and this is a monthly thing that you would set up how much you want to donate to the show each and every month. So we really appreciate all our patrons. If you want to do a one-time tip, go to thesxboxlife.com/donate. And that's a one-time tip. You can also subscribe to our channel on Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube. We really appreciate that. So we're going to jump into the topics. First, we have... Rob, did you get a chance? I know we talked about this when the Inside Xbox came up last month. It was like an hour-long show, very high production values, put on by Microsoft. Did you see that last time? I think you saw the whole thing, and I had only seen about half of it.
Yeah, and I actually started rewatching it with my son. It was good. It was good.
It's great. Yeah. It was a great show.
Well done.
Yeah, I did eventually get to watch it all, and it was really good. If you guys excuse me, if you missed it, definitely go back and check it out. You can see it through the official Xbox YouTube channel. They do have that out there. But this coming week, in fact, I think it's tomorrow, April 10th at 3:30 Pacific time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, 11:30 p.m. UK time, and it'll be April 11th at 8:30 a.m. AE time. Will be the next episode of Inside Xbox, and this time they are going to kick it off with a big piece of news. It says one of our most common requests is for original Xbox backward compatibility news, and we'll be starting off the show with a big update on just that. So that is tomorrow. On again, you can watch it on Mixer, YouTube. I think they're going to be on Twitch as well. So check it out. It'll probably be on the Xbox Wire page, which is the official news page. So I'm hoping to. In fact, I need to put that in my calendar right now because I don't want to forget. I'll be at work. I'll have my Mixer up, so I'll probably be able to watch it. But don't miss it. 3:30 Pacific time. So I'm gonna do that right now because I'm really curious as to what's the backwards compatibility. Are they just gonna name a bunch of stuff? Because we only got like one batch of old games, so I'm curious as to.
It's like
and they're saying it's
like
like
15 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean there was quite a few, so I'm assuming they're just gonna say here's like a second batch, but they're saying it's just gonna be a big update on that. So some people speculated maybe we're gonna get achievements added to those games. I don't know about that. Yeah. I think that would entail like going back in and like you'd have to add code into the games. I don't think they could do that. I don't know. I have no idea. But
or how about so I know I've heard this somewhere, discussion for this, but
I'm sorry, it's Tuesday, April 10th. Today's the 8th. I apologize. It's not tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tuesday, April 10th. Still the same times.
Okay. So maybe it has something to do with live.
Oh crap! I won't be able to watch it. I'll have to watch it later that night. Because I'll be where I talked to you before the show. I won't. I can't. Yeah. Oh no! I'm still putting it on my calendar. So I'll see it that night though on the replay. But anyway, sorry, Rob. You were saying?
No, what I was gonna say is maybe it's got something to do with Xbox Live because the old Live is gone, and I don't. Because I don't think I've tried any of the original titles yet. So I would imagine that they're like offline games now, right?
Yes.
So maybe they're going to do something with live so the original games can be multiplayer or something again.
I don't even know if that, like, again, I don't even know if that's possible. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they say.
Yeah.
But so that's happening. Alrighty, and we'll definitely report back to you guys next week in case you do miss it. We'll let you know what was talked about. Also, I think I mentioned this. I thought I mentioned this last week. Ghost Recon Wildlands. They're doing a year 2 DLC plans. So what they're doing, the first big update is going to be called Operations 1. Will be released on April 10th, which is Tuesday. And you can see the trailer, obviously, but it's going to add teammate customization, which will allow players to customize teammate outfits with every item they've unlocked for their own character. It will also include a new PvP mode called Sabotage. This is an objective holding mode, which comes with 5 maps. The update will also include a new PvP class, new weapons, and new perks. For PvE, Special Ops 1 will add a special themed mission and challenge, as well as content planned for Update 5 called Reinforcement, and Update 6, Bravo 6 on Ghost War's original roadmap. This will be a $30 digital Year 2 pass for Wildlands. Will offer all 6 of the Year 2 Ghost War classes, include a week of early access. It will also include exclusive custom packs, 4 special ops battle crates, and 4 Ghost War battle crates. So that hits this week. Uh, so for your Wildlands players, more content coming out, which is neat. So they've done that with Rainbow Six. They're actually now Rainbow Six Siege is now into its 3rd year of content. So Wildlands now is getting a 2nd year. It looks like that's going to be kind of a long term. Kind of makes me wonder. Far Cry, we know that's got a season pass. There's like 3 new content standalone pieces coming. Makes me wonder if there's going to be maybe they're going to do a part 2 to that as well. Ubisoft seems to be getting on board with stretching the life of their games, which I think is cool. So, all right, Rob, this next one, I'm not sure what to think of this. PUBG developer is suing clone game developers.
Oh yeah.
So they have launched a lawsuit against Chinese publisher NetEase, which it claims has infringed copyright by producing 2 games for mobile devices that bear striking similarity to PUBG. And they have pictures up of it, and it's extremely similar. So
Sure.
It almost looks like a copy and paste, and they just changed a few colors.
Hey, that's what happens in the mobile space.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, what do you think about this? Because like Fortnite, when that first came out, I mean, it's essentially the same thing as PUBG. It's just, there are a lot of differences to it, but when Fortnite Battle Royale came out, it was like, okay, you're first starting out, you're all getting all your players, you're all running around just like in PUBG. Then you get on the plane, and in this one instead was a bus, but you're going over the island, and you drop in, and it. So can they go after Epic? Can they go after anybody that does it, or do you think Fortnite's enough? There's enough change there, that, because to me it's like a copy of it too. They just did more changes than what this Chinese company did.
So this kind of stuff has come up in the board game world quite a bit, because there are companies which will copy, I'll say, a system used in a board game, and then there might be a lawsuit, or people might call for a lawsuit. Hey, these guys are totally ripping you off. But the general consensus with this kind of stuff is basically that a game itself technically, or let's say a game idea or a system of sorts, is not copyrightable. In other words, like, just the thought of having a game which is a first person shooter which uses, dropped ammunition and weapons, and you run around going from place A to B, shooting people and protecting yourself, or a home base or something like that. You can't copyright something like that and make it your own. And that's why we have so many games that use the same kind of, system. Like we have Battlefields, we have, the Call of Duties, we have, even other stuff which isn't necessarily military. Everything from like your let's Deus Ex to Tomb Raiders to, all these games use a similar kind of thing. They do have different stories and such, but where you can protect yourself is if there's something that makes it distinctly you. So for example, if there's a platformer, all right, there's a platformer game. If you have a character which is 100% ripoff of Mario, that's a no-go.
Right.
That's a showstopper. But, you can have a different character that does something a little different, like let's say like a Sonic, and the game is slightly different, and that's perfectly okay. So that's how we have the Sonic games and we have the Mario games. And what, 15, 20 years ago, that was like the big competition between systems. So that's okay. But if you totally copy something where people are, like one of them is Rules of Survival. My son played it, and when I see it, I'm like, yeah, that is PUBG, no doubt about it. But similarly, like Mark, I play this game called Clash Royale. You might have heard of it a couple of times.
Never heard of it.
There are total ripoffs of Clash Royale. Like there's one, I forget what it is. It looks like a Minecraft version of it, but it's totally the same. It is totally the same. And if they wanted to, I'm sure they could sue them. However, there's other companies which took the same idea and they made it go like sideways instead of up and down on a battlefield, or it's a scrolling field. That is technically enough to make it a little different. One of them is actually even a Star Wars game. But I know I'm kind of going off the deep end on this thing over here, but I think Rules of Survival, and what was that other game? Because there's two of them, right? Rules of Survival and
in the article.
What?
Are you talking about the one in the article?
Yeah, because I thought they're going after like two games, or
yes,
did
there
I
is
misread
Tool and Knives Out.
Knives Out?
Knives Out.
Oh yeah, Knives Out. Yeah, so I don't know about Knives Out, but I do know about Rules of Survival, and it's a total ripoff. And with this, I think because they've copied it so much, and they've actually made it, they're banking on that. That's why they did it. They made it, and they probably cranked it out real fast before. What's the name? PUBG or whatever PUBG Corp. Before they could even come out with their own version of it, and they're profiting from it. And they probably think, hey, even if we get a year's worth of money of ads and purchases or whatever, that's millions of dollars, maybe even billions. Yeah. And they'll do it as long as they can.
Yep.
Now, to talk about Fortnite, that's kind of a gray area, so, I know they're really not charging for it. There's really no ads or anything. Well, I guess you pay for skins and stuff if you want with V-Bucks. But, I think that game has a little bit of a distinction. It's not 100% copy. They have, now they have vending machines. They have, the building, there's enough of a distinction. The overall game is kind of the same. Last man standing, you drop in on an island, and I think that's kind of where the similarities end. I don't know. What do you think? Are there more similarities between the two? Between PUBG and Fortnite?
I think that's where it ends, because Fortnite's not a realistic shooter. It's a cartoonish shooter. I saw one the other day. This guy, there's now a homing rocket, and he fired it, and he swung it around behind him, and then he timed it where he jumped his character up and landed on the rocket, and he was flying himself around.
Oh yeah, that's
and there's a building mechanic you build in the game, which is really neat. So yeah, it's not identical, but it's like, before you get into that point, when you're watching, the first time I saw it, I was like, oh wow, they just ripped off PUBG big time. It's not a plane, it's a bus. Okay. You're not parachuting in, you're gliding in, right? I mean, they made some changes, but we all know why they made that game, because of the popularity of PUBG. But I think theirs is enough difference, and you can't, and that's the thing, is like, you can't copyright a 100, player, a battle royale. You cannot copyright battle royale. That is a mode. Like Gears of War came out with a horde mode. Now everybody has a horde mode, right? They just call it something different, but it's still the same thing. And it's, so I think PUBG needs to just focus on getting their game out and getting more maps, instead of just what, 2 on the PC, and 1 still on
It's
Xbox.
3.
Is it 3 now on PC?
Yeah, I think so.
Um,
Yeah, we've
and
got a story about
yeah,
that.
so um, Xbox, even though we're in game preview, Xbox is gonna get PUBG is gonna get the Miramar map, which is the desert one. That's gonna come to Xbox One in May. So in May you'll have a second
That's
map to play
next
on
month.
next month. Yeah.
Yes. If
So
you're going, oh, that's so far away. No, it's a couple weeks.
yeah, it's not that far away. So, but I think the game does need more, and Epic is just pumping out content like crazy, and it's really neat to see. But that is for those of you that are enjoying all that new content in Fortnite, you are going to see that slow down. So Fortnite dev is actually they're going to slow down their patch schedule and focus on improving bug fixes.
Yeah.
So so they have announced that, and their patching schedule they're gonna slow it down to once every 2 weeks to improve the bug testing. So
That's
it,
still pretty good.
it's
I
still
mean,
pretty darn quick, but it's
yeah.
not like there's been so much stuff coming out. It's like I don't play it, but I watch it often, and it's
Yeah.
just like every time I watch it, it's like, well, that's new, that's new. Oh, look at
Oh,
all
yeah.
this, look at all of that. Look, it's just insane how much stuff they can put out, and that game works. You know,
It works really well,
works
actually. Yeah.
very well, which is kind of
You know, they,
interesting.
they have had some server problems. I think just, they grew too fast to some degree. And, that was only like a 1 day thing and they resolved it. And, like you said, there's been so many patches, like I can't even keep up. Like my son will tell me, he's like, hey, dad, they got this. And I'm like, well, they just added these because they had llamas for a while that were strewn across the map.
Yeah,
And it's like, now they have vending machines. They just added llamas. And then
yeah.
the other day they added that homing missile. It's nonstop. But for the people that play it a lot, I mean, it's keeping it fresh. It's keeping people involved.
Well, what they say is the Fortnite patch schedule will alternate with the new content update and won't affect the weekly content for the game. Players will still get new features every week without the
Oh,
need
okay.
for an update. Starting
Ah,
this week, we are doing things a little differently. Every other week, we will drop new content without the need for an update. These will be called content updates. This new cadence allows us to iron out more complex bugs while continuing to provide fun content every week. Um, I mean, that doesn't even make sense to me because they're like, we're still doing it every week, but now we're flipping it to every other week. Well, if you're doing it every other week, how can you still do it every week? so,
yeah, yeah.
so I think maybe there's a difference between a patch and their content updates. It seems kind of confusing to me, but the title is they're going to slow down patch schedule to improve bug fixing.
Okay.
But all still good, and it doesn't sound like it's going to really slow down too much. So they're still going to be pumping out the
Okay.
content. And then one other thing I wanted to mention. The Rainbow Six Siege devs are cracking down on toxicity. And I know I read recently about an article about a lot of different companies getting together and talking about, and we may have even mentioned this a week or two ago, about the toxicity out there, like in the game environments and people just being, going in and griefing and, just being obscene on, just nasty to people and obscene. And they're like doing studies like, why do people tend to do this? Because they don't do it in person. A lot of people don't. But then you get the anonymity of the internet. You just become a moron. Um, but the
You get Jay
developer,
and Silent Bob coming over to you.
exactly. So they're starting to work on cracking down on the toxicity in the game's multiplayer modes. They said in their blog they detailed features coming to the game to improve player behavior. A number of short-term changes that have been implemented, including a chat monitoring system Ubisoft's going to track individual players' use of racial or homophobic slurs, issuing bans based on severity ranging from days and weeks and permanent exclusion from the game. Ubisoft also plans to implement a means to address intentional team killing, tracking and disciplining long-term offenders. Further functionality for muting and filtering the game's text chat will be arriving during Season 3. Players will be able to individually mute and filter out a voice and text channels from toxic players. They said this is just the beginning of the plans to address toxicity in Rainbow Six Siege, asking for community feedback and developing further tools. So, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
So, what you got, Rob?
Okay. So this thing just floored me. I almost fell out of my chair about this. So 5 years ago, when the Xbox One was teased, back in the day when it couldn't work on a submarine,
Right.
they teased a game called Below, which was, a rogue-like game. When I say rogue-like, I know a lot that's people throw that term around. There was a game years ago called Rogue, which was like a top-down dungeon game with like little teeny tiny characters. It was cool. It was fun for the time. And a lot of people like that style gaming, maybe a little nostalgia and such. So this is the game that they teased back in 2013 at the reveal, and it just sort of like was there. The company Capybara Games, I mean, they never shut down. Which is a big surprise because they haven't had a whole ton of titles, but they've been working on this game apparently for the last 5 years, in addition to prior to the reveal, and they've announced that it's a 2018 title. So I was like, holy smokes, this game is finally coming out, and it better be worth the wait. Supposedly, it runs at 4K, 60 frames per second on the Xbox One X, and I would imagine it would hopefully run at 60 frames a second on Xbox One S with the graphics style of this game. So I mean, it's a top-down game where you see like this little teeny tiny little itty bitty dude just walking around. They released some footage from the Xbox One. It's like 20 minutes of gameplay. If you search for that online, Below Capybara Games footage or whatever, you can find it. So I'm pretty stoked about this, and this is a game that I'm definitely going to be getting. But I was just shocked to finally hear that it's coming out. I mean, it was a big old tease, kind of like, what's that one game you like? It starts with a C.
Yeah,
Smackdown.
The game that Shinobi mentioned. Yeah, Crackdown.
Yeah, Smackdown.
Yeah,
Smackdown 3, the wrestling game. Yeah, it's supposedly going to be arriving later this year. We shall see, but the gameplay footage is out there, and it looks cool. The graphics look kind of neat, and I tend to like the games that have some interesting graphics.
And this is an Xbox exclusive, correct?
Yeah, I believe it is.
So for those on Game Pass, it should be included.
Oh.
Yes. Yet another game coming to the Game Pass.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it'll be in Game Pass. That would be awesome if it was.
It's the first
but
party.
I wouldn't think it would be, though. I'd be surprised if it was.
Well, if this is
keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah. I guess we'll find out.
Let's see. The game is a console exclusive, and it's in development for PC.
Right. So that is correct. I would expect this to be in the Game Pass. It's a Microsoft published title.
I hope you are right. So another thing I wanted to talk about, and this is another nostalgia game for me, was Spyro Reignited Trilogy is coming out later this year in September-ish or so. It's going to be out on PS4 and Xbox One. if you're unfamiliar with Spyro the Dragon, first of all, where you been? And you obviously haven't played any.
Skylanders.
Yes,
That's
any
the only place I know
Skylanders.
him from.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a couple of games. This is going way back to the original PlayStation, the PS1 time, I think. I don't think it. Yeah, it must have been on the original PlayStation that I played it. It was fun. It was a cool game for the time. That was, quite a few years ago. It was over 20 years ago, but I believe it came out. But they're going to have was it 3 games? Their titles are, if I can find it here,
1, 2,
Spyro
3.
the Dragon, of course, is the first one, and whatever the other 2 are. Okay, I can't find
Spyro
it.
the Dragon 2 and Spyro the Dragon 3.
Yeah. So yeah, he's a little romping, frolicking dragon. I don't know. He's just running around. He shoots flaming flies. He's cool. It was a great game back in the day, and they've upped the graphics. It's not just one of those lame ports that look exactly like it did 20 years ago. They improved the graphics. It's been HDified, so it joins all the other games like Crash Bandicoot from the same time, and what the Banjo Kazooie and all those. So if you like those, you'll probably like this as well. Cool. So very cool. And do you have a Spyro figure on your shelf? Because I know you got
not behind me. They're I got several of them that are in the thing. Kids have them in the family room in a big basket full of Skylanders characters.
Oh, and here I found the title. Spyro 2. So Spyro the Dragon, and you were correct, Spyro 2. But it's called Ripto's Rage and Spyro Year of the Dragon. So it's going to retail for $40, and
for all 3
pre-orders.
Games?
Yeah, $40 for all 3.
Cool.
And pre-orders are live right now, so you can pre-order so that they don't run out of bits.
Exactly.
Prior to September 21st.
All right, cool.
Yeah. And going into the rumor mill, I just thought this was kind of interesting to see what you think about this, Mark. So there's a rumor afoot that Microsoft pulled some shenanigans and snagged the marketing rights to a bunch of games that are coming up. Supposedly, namely, including Borderlands 3, Splinter Cell, Cyberpunk 2077, Battlefield 5, and Anthem. So exactly what does this mean from what they say? Basically, Microsoft is going to be able to advertise the Xbox One as the lead platform with all of these games.
That's awesome.
So basically, the trailers that are released for these games, and there's going to be a lot of trailers for these.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the trailers are going to get the little Xbox, video at the end. I imagine, was it that one screen that we see all the time? It says Xbox One.
Yeah.
Was that like a green screen, sort of?
Yeah, well, yeah, and it'll probably have something about, true 4K only on Xbox One.
Yeah,
X
or available
like.
on.
They're gonna have to have something in there about only on Xbox One X. There'll be some kind of PR marketing line, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
You'd better.
Yeah.
If you're gonna put that money down, you better make it sound like you're only gonna get that, and the best versions are on the X. So, put that in there. I saw this story and I was like, it's rumor. I hope that I do hope it comes to fruition. Microsoft they need to do it. They need to have the name out there. People need to see it. People need to know, and they also need to have a bunch of exclusives. They need to announce a bunch of real exclusives, not console launch exclusives, not
right.
I'm talking stuff that you can't play on Nintendo or PlayStation. And I don't care if it's Windows 10. To me, it's still an exclusive. It's exclusive to Microsoft. So I don't care that, if that a game comes out and it's on Xbox and Windows 10. It doesn't hurt Microsoft at all. It doesn't
Right.
hurt the Xbox. That's still an Xbox exclusive in my mind, in the way, because when Sony's doing an exclusive, they're saying, they're just saying you can't play it on Nintendo or Xbox, you know. So it's got to be the same. You got to view it the same way all around.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, and I know there's people like, oh, I don't want them on Windows. It should only be exclusive to the console. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It's exclusive to the Microsoft platforms. Period.
Right,
It's
right.
still the same company making the money. And
Mm-hmm.
if they sell more, if they get to sell more copies of that same game because of Windows 10 and PC gamers, that's benefits the console gamers on Xbox. We might get a sequel, or we might get more games like that are on both. So, but
Yeah.
it's still an exclusive. But none of this launching and saying we got 52 exclusives, and in reality it was like 4. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
So.
And those 4 indie titles.
Yeah.
Which come out on Thursday.
Or 2 of them actually ended up getting canceled eventually. So
yeah.
And we're still waiting on the other 2. It's like, are they gonna cancel them or not?
Mm-hmm.
So, but that'll be cool if it works out.
Yeah, like the one thing I wanted to mention about this is, and I'd say in this generation, the tactic that I think the companies have used is basically to lock in a game, and this is kind of what I wanted to talk about. They wanted to lock in a game, like Sony had the content for
Call of Duty.
COD,
Yep.
wasn't it?
Well, the content Xbox 360 had all that, and then PS4 took that away, and Xbox didn't pursue it with Xbox One.
Yeah.
So
So they had that, and then Microsoft, pulled the whole Tomb Raider thing, right, with Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Where it was out, was it a year?
It was 1 year. Yeah.
Prior, yeah.
So both Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider are both. Now this third one is not. It ships on all platforms on the same day.
That's fine. But I think that this is something that doesn't hurt people, doesn't deprive them of a game, whether they're your customers or not, whatever. It doesn't deprive people of a game, but it gives Microsoft kind of like a leg up in advertising and recognition and so forth.
Yep.
So that it's cool that they did this and they locked in a bunch of games and not just one title.
Yeah.
So it's like a little bit of a shift because, Anthem looks like it's going to be a cool game. I don't remember when it's coming out.
I don't think we got a date. I think it's going to be 2019 for Anthem.
Yeah, so Battlefield 5, big title, Splinter Cell, everybody's looking forward to that. Borderlands 3.
Yep.
That's hopefully going to be a good title. Cyberpunk 2077. I'm having a
That's by the developers of Witcher.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's huge. It's going to be huge.
CD Projekt Red.
Yes.
So that's some major titles, and it's cool that they did that. If this is legit, supposedly this came from sources close to the Xbox team.
Okay, so I'm in the same room as my Xbox. Is that close?
Close enough, I guess.
That's the question. How close?
Yes. So that's some interesting news. And then I did want to add one last thing. This is kind of neat, sort of. One more thing. So the new Marvel movie, Avengers: Infinity War, is coming out soon, or I don't remember if it came out this. No, didn't.
No, it's
later.
I think it's
month,
in May.
Right?
I believe it's in May. Isn't it?
Anyway, it's coming out in next couple of weeks. So the Xbox Avatar store, you can look for it on the marketplace. I don't know if it's on the consoles. They have a whole bunch of free avatar items that you can snag. Like there's a Captain America suit, Star-Lord suit, Thor suit, Iron Man. There's a rocket companion. That's like a pet, isn't it, or something?
Rocket?
Doesn't
He's a
yeah,
raccoon.
yeah, but a companion.
Oh yeah, that would
Isn't
be.
that a little dude that
Yeah.
kind of, it's like a runs around like a dog or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's April 27th, by the way. So you're correct. It is
Yeah,
this month.
yeah. Hulk companion. Um, there's a Thanos gauntlet. So there's a whole bunch of stuff, and it's all free, which is kind of nice. So you don't have to splurge your
You don't have to
DLC
pay
money
money
on.
for something we don't use anyways.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah, if that interests you, check it out. Looks like there's 19 of them, and they're all free for now.
For now.
I don't know about next week.
Or tomorrow.
Yeah,
Oops.
that's
Someone's
right.
like, oops.
They were supposed to be $18 each.
Exactly.
We got to pay for those
Licenses.
trailers for all those games like Anthem and stuff. They got to get their money somehow.
Yep.
But anyway, that's all I've got.
Alrighty. Well, Rob, you know what time it is.
Oh, yeah.
Today on this Xbox Live, get ready for some major strife. Yeah, Wingman's got 709 webs. Today is just the start. Get ready for this rant.
And boy, am I gonna rant. All right, we're gonna talk about Sea of Horrible Crappy Thieves.
Oh boy.
So my buddy Bo, you mentioned earlier, I was talking to him. What was it? Friday? I think it was Friday, Thursday or Friday, and I'm like, oh, you got to get the Game Pass. He was talking about possibly buying the game, and I'm like, dude, just get the Game Pass, man. I'm like, you're gonna spend $60 on the game, you can get Game Pass for 6 months, you know. And I'm like, that way, if you don't like the game, you know, at least you got other games you can play, and
That's
you can still drop out of the Game Pass after a month. I said, there's even free trial offers if you want, you know. So he ended up joining Game Pass, downloaded the game, and Vengeful Jedi and Commander Sisson and I all got together. We kind of ran him through the ropes, but he only had time for like one initial mission. So we did one initial mission. And I'm like, yeah, hit us up next time, we'll get together and we'll run you through some more stuff. So he left. Vengeful Jedi and I stayed on. And I had a higher ranking Souls, what's that called? I forgot, but it's the Souls or the it's not the Merchant, not the Gold Hoarders. It's the Order of the Souls, I think. So I threw that mission down, and he accepted it, and we went after it. And it was like, you got to go to these 4 islands and fight these captains, and it turned out to be like 6 skeleton captains. So we were going to get 6 skulls out of this, but it was on 4 different islands, stretched all over. So it took us quite a while to get to all these and fight them, and then we had one island glitch, so we actually left the area because like the captains wouldn't spawn. All of a sudden everything just stopped. We could still hear the music, but no skeletons were spawning. So we left, and we were going to go to the next one and then come back. And as we pulled away, the music stopped, and I was like, hey, the music just quit. What do you think? Maybe let's just swing around and go back. Maybe it'll restart the thing. And we went back, and the music kicked back on, and we still, nothing happened. And then Vengeful Jedi saw that there was a skeleton like wedged in a rock or under a rock or something, and he killed him, and then boom, all of a sudden everyone started reappearing. So anyways, we had gotten to the 3rd island. We had a total of 4 skulls. We were headed to the 4th island. We had also found a message in a bottle, and we were headed to the 4th island to get our last set of skulls. And just as we were getting there, I was looking at the map, and I look up, and all of a sudden I see a sail. I was like, oh crap. So I run upstairs and I look out and I'm like, there's a ship right behind us. There's a ship right behind us. Next thing you know, we're sank.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, this is the part of the game that I hate. You know, and I get that this is the way the game is designed. It's like, you know, this is a pirate's life, right? You go out and you can raid ships or sink them or whatever. But the thing, it just annoys me that we put in about probably an hour to an hour and a half of work. We were having a good time. Had loot. We were going to go cash in. I'm like, this will probably pay pretty good. And we didn't get it. Right at the end, after we've done this hour and a half worth of work and about to put in probably another 15, 20 minutes, maybe another half hour by the time you get to cash it all in, your game's over just like that. Boom. And you lose everything. And it's just like, you know, a lot of people don't have tons of time to play. I'm pretty lucky. I got the ability to play a lot. But it's like, I don't want to sit and waste my time. I don't want to play Sea of Thieves. I like Sea of Thieves. The game is really fun. I don't necessarily mind the grind. It's kind of a fun game, and I have enjoyed it. But that's the part I don't like, is the whole PvP part. That's why in the Division, very rarely would I go into the Dark Zone, because I just didn't like that I can go get something and then someone can take it away. You know, it's like, I'd rather play against bots, AI, you know, or just, you know, just it's PvE is what I want. You know, I don't like other players coming in and griefing. And I think it's a big problem. And I think, yeah, I get it. I understand what they want and what they're getting to, but again, it comes to the point of, I don't want to play for 2 hours and then have to worry. I'm like, to me, this game is stressful. Because you're like, okay, we got something. Well, oh my gosh, we better hurry back and drop this one off. Even though you can't just go on your path and do your 4 or 5. And like, when you get up to a legend status, then you get like 8 missions, you know. Then you have to do them all at one time. You can't even log off. You have to complete it all. But how are you going to be able to do that when people are constantly, you know, attacking you and sinking you? You know, and people can say, well, you just need to get better at the game. Yeah, maybe. But you can't get, you know, it's just the point that I don't want to waste my time of an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or like we tried one night to do a fort. We're trying to do one of those skeleton forts. Another ship came in and wiped us all out, just like that. While some of our guys were in at the fort. We had one person on the ship, me, and I was shooting cannons at the fort, trying to wipe out, you know, so you're not even looking behind you, you know. You're not going to complete the skeleton fort unless you have your people going in there to fight it. It just kind of stacks and rigs the game against you. And it's like, I don't want to go and attempt a multiple hour event to just say, oh, you just spent 2 hours doing this and now you got nothing to show for it. No additional rank ups, no extra gold to buy anything. And it's just like, it's a waste of time. I'd rather go play something else. And that's essentially what I've done. I'm done with the game. I'm not going to bother playing it. There's no point until they can take that part out, which they're not going to, because it's all part of the game design, right? But this is not the game for me. And I know I've talked about it, how I was surprised, how much fun I had, but this has happened too many times now that it's just like, nope, I want no part of it. I really don't. It's just, it takes the fun out of the game. I don't find it fun, you know? But that's me. So I'm done with it. Don't bother inviting me. I'm done with the game. I'm done with it. Again, I got nothing really bad to say about it. It's this one mechanic that's in the game that allows people to do that. And it's just, I don't like that. You know, some people love it and that's great. It's just not for me. If they ever remove that, or I know they were trying to work on some kind of griefing thing, where they spawn the boats twice as far away or something. But it's like, if I can still be destroyed and lose everything, then no, I just don't want to bother with it. So that's it for me. I'm done.
Wow.
I'm done ranting.
You know, this rant I don't think you were as fired up as you were in past rants, but you were very passionate about this one. You weren't like as riled up.
I'm
You were
tired.
like this was a frustrated rant.
It is, because I like the game. I do enjoy it, which was a surprise. I just don't like wasting my time in a game. And
No,
and,
I
it, and it's
get
like,
it.
okay, you might say, well, you play Far Cry 5 and you may be tackling a base and you might get killed. Then you got to respawn and go back at it. But the thing is, I didn't lose anything other than the time. I still have any XP I've earned, all that stuff. This is, you lose all your gold. You don't gain anything while you're traveling, right? You have to go get the stuff and turn it in. And then like someone says, well, go turn it in after every time. But the way some of the stuff is spread out, you're just stretching your timeline now that you're gonna be out, twice or three times as long, because you're constantly trying to go back. And you could go back to the I already forgot what it's called, but like the outpost to turn your loot in. But what's to say there's not a ship already there? There's been people sitting at the outpost waiting for people to come in. They kill them, take their loot, and they cash it in, and they get all their rewards, and they never had to go out and do anything.
Right.
That is just super frustrating to me. Garbage. Don't like it. And again, it's a personal thing. It's just frustrating because the game, if it didn't have that, this game would be a tremendous amount of fun. And there's a tremendous amount of grinding. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, you compare it to Destiny, right? You're grinding out stuff, but you're not having to deal with people killing you and stealing your stuff. Like, that's the difference. This is like the Dark Zone in the Division, which I don't enjoy and I didn't like, and I didn't go in and play. I tried it a couple times, but yeah, I was like, nope, it's not for me. And unfortunately, this entire game is the Dark Zone. Right. It's not for me. I can't rant because the game's doing what it was meant to do. It's not like a bug. It's not like a glitch. It's just I'm disappointed that is the way the game is designed, in the way that they're. So again, it's just a choice, just for me. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's crap.
I understand.
All right. What you got, Rob?
Okay. So you can send us a voicemail by going to thisxboxlife.com and click on the little voicemail widget. We would love to hear from you, and we will use your recording on the show if it's appropriate, I guess. Because I guess you could send us all sorts of stuff. Not that we want you to. We want you to send stuff relating to the show. Another way to do that as well is you can record an MP3 and send it to us via email at contact@thisxboxlife. So anything you send, if you want to hear yourself on the show, ask us a question and we will play it on the air. We're also on Twitter. You can find us at thisxboxlife.com/Twitter, or search for just @thisxboxlife. That's another way to do it. We do have a Facebook group. I mentioned it earlier in the show. I know a lot of our listeners already know about it. They're already members. But it is a closed group, which just basically means that you have to ask for permission to be in the group, and anything you say in the group stays in the group. It's kind of like Las Vegas, right? Right, Mark?
Yeah.
Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So whatever happens in the group stays in the group. So if people are not in the group, they can't see what you're posting. Like if you're just posting stuff in the middle of your workday when you should be at a meeting, or if you blew off a meeting, they can't bust you that way on Facebook, at least. Well, unless they're also members in the group, but then you should have known that. So we do have a bunch of Facebook messages this week. We've got a handful over here. Should we read them now?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it. Here, I'll take the first one. First message is from Brian. He writes, what game have you played that had a lot of hype for greatness, and when you played it, and when you played, you went, it's okay, it's no blank. What do you think? Oh, you just talked about one, didn't you?
I'm trying to
Contain yourself.
yeah. I'm trying to compare what Sea of Thieves because it had a hype for greatness, and when I played it, I would say it's no
Clash Royale.
I can't even say Destiny because I don't like Destiny either.
Yeah.
Um, well,
Division.
no, I think I can't believe I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say, yeah, I played Sea of Thieves, but it's no Destiny. I think I have to do that because I still put a tremendous amount of time into Destiny because I liked the gameplay and I thought the story was fun and running through there, and I did do multiplayer stuff, not the Crucible, but yeah, I would still say that yeah, this is no Destiny. That's what I'd have to say. Sea of Thieves is no Destiny.
Yeah, for me, I can't really think of a game that had like a ton of hype. Oh, wait, I'm going to use one. So a game that had a ton of hype was Gems of War.
Oh, shut up.
And I say it's okay, but it's no Clash Royale.
That's weak. That is weak.
It's true.
Whatever.
It is no Clash Royale.
That's
The
because
ridiculous
it's
duel.
because Clash Royale sucks. And Gems of
No.
War is above that. All right. So John writes in, he said, if we
Okay.
don't get a bunch of new IPs at E3 or earlier, should Phil Spencer start being held accountable? I would have to say yes. He came in. I had to right the ship. We've got the S and the X. And if what holds true to Rob's rumor, we're getting a bunch of marketing deals to put the X in front or an Xbox in front on all these new titles. I think we are going to see some IPs. But yeah, I think he's had time in there now, and they obviously don't hop right out and land in your lap easily. It takes time to build these, but I think he's probably had time. So I'm expecting IPs, and I want new IPs that are actually going to release, not get canned, like Scalebound and Fable, and probably several others that possibly Crackdown. We still don't know the word on Crackdown, so but we are going to get some stuff this year. We did get Sea of Thieves. We are getting State of Decay 2. We've got the next Forza title coming. I know there's another one or two that I can't think of at the moment, but we do have stuff. Oh, and possibly in Crackdown's supposed to come out this year, but there was one other one I can't remember. It was a fifth game, but yeah, I hope to see more. What about you, Rob? Do you think Phil Spencer should be accountable if we don't get it?
Well, I mean, although he is an influencer to a great degree on the platform, he doesn't control other companies at all. I think that he's only got the reins of the Microsoft studios. So, from that limited aspect, he can only do so much, especially considering the development cycle of these games is, it's not like how it used to be where one dude did a game and that was it. Now it's like teams of hundreds of people and it takes years to get these games. You know,
Ori and the Will of the Wisps. That's another one coming this year. So we've
yeah,
got 5, but I guess they're not new. Ori's a repeat. State of Decay's a
yeah.
repeat. Crackdown's a repeat. Sea of Thieves was new. I forgot what my other 5th one was. So I guess we only got one new IP. Oh yeah, Forza. So we only got one new IP out of the 5 I just said. So doesn't count.
Yeah. I mean, you can have like awesome old IP games. Do we like need new IP? Would be nice, but
I think it's nice. I think it's
you
good to
know,
have
it's
some new
about.
stuff.
I think we're due because a bunch of the stuff that's been out lately. I mean, it didn't really go anywhere,
Well,
right?
I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah.
And I
So
guess I took his question as like exclusive because he said we'd hold Phil Spencer accountable, but get a new bunch of new IPs. I mean, new IPs can still come and still be multi-platform.
Right.
So, but I took it since he's saying Phil Spencer that I'm taking he means exclusives, new
Right.
IPs for Xbox. So yeah, I'd love to see it.
Yeah. I mean, let's get it. I don't know
Yeah.
if he should be held accountable, but he should be an
He's the
influencer for
man at
that.
the top of the food chain, man.
Oh, but not for everything. Just
Right.
Xbox and
He's
the
got a
Microsoft
seat at
side.
the he's got a seat at the big boys table now too. He's been brought into the
Yes.
senior leadership team. So
Nice. Okay. Next one is from Bo. Bo writes in, when will we get a good VR headset for the
we're
X?
not even going to answer this. I meant to delete this question because he already said he's going to go back to the dark side. So just for
Yeah,
VR,
it's
lame.
overrated.
It is. That's what I keep telling him, and he's like,
Makes you hurl.
"You got all these cables running around. You're going to trip. You're going to fall over and smash your head on your coffee table."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
So, this is where we've talked about the VR stuff quite a bit. And this is where I really say that Microsoft got burned with the Kinect. So, any of these, well, they got burned on the Kinect and they've seen the PlayStation stuff, like with what the wands or whatever they call them.
Move controllers.
Yeah, the move controls with little ping pong ball and the controller.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff. It's gimmicky, and in the end, people just want the core gaming experience.
Yep.
So, I think Kinect is a big lesson learned for them, and they're going to tread very carefully. I think VR, for Microsoft to produce one, I would speculate that VR has to be firmly rooted as the next big thing that is coming, that is here, that it's usable. And then I think they'll jump on it. I'd be surprised if they do it with this generation though.
I think they will do it because, and I've said this, I think for the last couple of years, I've been expecting it, but when they were talking about the Xbox One X, when they were first teasing it, they mentioned VR. Todd Howard was on there about how to do Fallout VR, like in true 4K and stuff like that. And, they just didn't have the hardware. I believe we've got the hardware now. The Xbox One X, I believe, can do it. It's more powerful than the PlayStation. The PlayStation, my understanding is you have to have a separate box that attaches to it to help with that, to drive that to the headset. And I think the original headsets weren't even couldn't do HDR and stuff like that. So, we've got the box. I really kind of, and they got all these developers now. Like you can buy headsets from Dell or an Acer and HP for like $300. And I would expect this year for them to come out and talk about you can buy any kind of headset you want from a piece, from one of those PC manufacturers, because the Xbox One X, you got to remember it's a Windows 10 box. It's a Windows 10 device. So it's got drivers for those headsets, and I do believe that Microsoft wants wireless because the wires just get in the way. It's additional hurdle for it. So I think I don't think it's a bad idea. I do hope to see it this year. But again, am I going to jump on the board on the train with it? Probably not. It'd probably be crazy expensive, but it would be the Xbox that would actually get me to purchase one and try it out.
Yeah, and supporting other companies' headsets, I think, is different than them coming out with their own.
Right. I don't think they'll do it their own.
Right. Yeah. Support is very likely. Just like how they're planning to support keyboards and mice and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just supporting another PC peripheral. I think that'll come, but them to have their own developed and stuff like that, I don't see that this generation.
Right. I agree with that. All right. So Jeremy writes in, what does the community think of an official TXL theme song? So if you're wondering who Jeremy is, he's the one who did the Wingman's Rant song, and he's done the Rob's New Releases song. So he's now asking the community for their thoughts on this. And then Jeremy, I would recommend asking too in the Facebook group. and getting some feedback. Maybe put a poll in there. And we'll get some feedback from there. So look for that, or write in if you guys want to send voicemails or emails. Write in and answer what your thoughts are on a new official TXL theme song.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay. Sai writes, do you both subscribe to Game Pass? So I do, and I know
I
Mark
do too.
does. You talked about it. So
Yep.
yes, we do.
Phil sends in, I game a lot less in the spring and summer. Do you guys do the same? I would say no. I think I game pretty. It depends. My gaming might slow down in the summer due to the fact that there's less games. There's not a lot of new stuff typically coming out, but it seems like lately they've had stuff come out pretty much throughout the year to keep me going. I still when we're home and the kids are in bed and we're done with the activities, I'm gonna put some gaming in. So vacation time,
Yeah.
that hampers stuff.
Yeah.
But
And I find like free time is hard to come by for me as it is. The summertime, in the past couple of years, my son's always done summertime sports, which are in the evenings, and they eat up a lot of time, not to
yes,
mention cutting grass and yard work and all that other fun stuff.
send your son out
So
there to make him do the grass.
yeah,
Make
right.
him earn his keep.
Maybe in a couple of years. But you know, it's definitely challenging, especially vacationing and so forth. So yeah, for me, when the weather's nicer, there's just a lot of other stuff calling my time, and it really depends on work schedule too, because work is the big killer for me. It just sucks up so much time. There's not enough left for anything else, including sleep and gaming. So, um, so to some degree, yes.
So what
Spend some.
what Xbox needs to do is they need to make their own device that's like a Switch. Xbox needs their own Switch.
Yes.
That would be the greatest thing ever. But
Yes, a little handheld. That'd be fantastic.
yes.
Although I do have to say this, and that's that once you get spoiled at having either a monitor or a big screen, playing on the small screen is a little tough. It's a
Yeah, but
little tough.
it beats not having anything to play on. If you're on the
True.
road or you're taking vacation, you can easily pack that Switch with you and play on the
Yeah.
airplane, or and if you're on vacation, and you can still get some gaming in that way using a portable device. So
Yeah. Like you said, it would have to be something like a Switch where, like, if you do take it on travels, let's say business travels, where you can hook it up
you
to a
can.
TV somewhere,
You can.
right?
I did that the
Yeah.
first time I traveled with my Switch. I took
Yeah.
the little dock and it has an HDMI cable, plugged it right into the hotel TV, and I play it on the TV.
Yeah. Because I had a PSP back in the
Ooh.
day, and like one big challenge that I had was just it was such a small screen. Like let's say you're playing, Sniper Elite. Imagine trying to snipe someone on, granted it's a bigger screen now. Like on the Switch, it's what, 7 inch, I
Yeah.
think, or is the whole thing? Anyway, it's like 6, 7 inches screen size. That's a little challenging to do something that requires, detail versus, a 46, 50, 55, 65, whatever size TV, or even a
Right.
monitor, because everybody's
Right.
got, like, at least 24-inch monitors. There's just, it's hard to see the detail on the small screens, especially when your eyes are going
Yeah.
and you
Hey,
can't see the
reading
stuff.
stuff on the big screens are hard for me. I'm like, what's that say?
Yeah.
I'm constantly squinting at it. It's like, because the
Oh
bigger
yeah.
the TV gets, the smaller the text gets for some reason.
Yep.
So,
And I have a problem now where, I've always been nearsighted, and my contacts that I wear have, you know, at some point what they do is when you're nearsighted and then you start needing glasses to read, for example, what they do is they make one eye, which is like your dominant eye, they make it geared towards reading, and your other eye is more towards distance.
Uh-huh.
And you just learn, like, if your right eye is more geared towards reading, that's the one that's like your dominant eye.
Right.
Like there's this cool thing, and this I guess is only for the Twitch viewers and stuff like that. If you hold your hands in a triangle, you see this, Mark?
Oh,
So
I
you
know
hold your hands
exactly
in,
what you're doing. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you look at something in a distance and then you close one eye. The one that you see it with, that's your dominant eye for distance. And then they take your other eye and make it for reading. Well, because I have this difference in my eyes now, it's really hard to read something small with my
Right.
contacts in. If I take my contacts out, it's fine. But when I wear my contacts, it's like it's hard to see detail. It's like annoying. You almost need glasses with contacts to do that. So yeah, that's a problem with detail on those little screens. But anyway.
You're just a whiner. Maybe
Yeah,
we should
I am.
give you the rant section.
I know, right?
So, all right. I think it's time to find out what is happening this week.
Okay, Rob, what you got for us today? What you got? What you got for us to play? Give us a list of games that we can buy and play. Okay, Rob.
All right. For the week of April 9th through the 12th, the retail releases or online releases or whatever are the following. On April 9th, we have Masters of Anima, Xbox One X Enhanced. On the 10th, we have Extinction and Owlboy and Robocraft Infinity. This title is...
Go ahead.
What?
I think you're going to say it.
Yeah, it's a console launch exclusive, Xbox One Enhanced, and Xbox Game Pass.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that game. It's just, I don't know. Looks like too much effort. Anyway, on the 11th, we have Bomb Slinger, Wise Origin, Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. We talked about this one a couple weeks ago. The graphics on it look pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty amazing. The game's kind of trippy, looks like.
This game is supposed to be amazing.
Yeah.
I've heard just such great stuff about Hellblade.
Yes. Because this what came out like over a year ago on PC, I think.
And PS4.
Yeah.
This was like, I guess the Sony fanboys are all up in arms because they're like, what? This was supposed to be a Sony exclusive, and it was just a timed. Exactly.
Wah. And we also have Earthlock Festival of Magic, and then Deep Ones, also Xbox One X Enhanced. And lastly, on the 12th, we have Regalia of Men and Monarchs Royal Edition. So nothing really major. We got a couple of things, and at least one thing here going into Game Pass.
Yep.
Games with Gold are continuing. Is what? When's the switch over? I think next weekend. Yeah, so next weekend is a switch over. So still for Games with Gold on Xbox One, we have Super Hot continuing through mid-month, and new for April was The Witness. On Xbox 360 and backwards compatibility, we have Cars 2. Yep. And next week we'll tell you what's coming up for the end of the month. And then lastly, as usual, if you make any purchases on Amazon, make sure to use our affiliate link. You can find that at thisxboxlife.com/Amazon. That will take you to a landing page just choose either US or UK store, whatever applies to you. If you don't see anything there, check your browser, the ad blockers and stuff. Block the Amazon link. Thank you, ad blockers. But you can whitelist our page if that happens, and hopefully it shows up for you. But it doesn't cost you anything extra. You don't have to just buy Xbox materials. You can buy anything at Amazon. Make sure to use that each and every time, and it really benefits the show. Also, if you're an iTunes user, please find the show on the iTunes store. Give us a 5-star review. That's another great way to support the show. It doesn't cost anything except a few mouse clicks, a little bit of typing. And the more 5-star reviews that we get, the more we get boosted in the store. It helps more folks find out about the show, grows the community, and makes everything better. Awesome. Also, we're now broadcasting on Mixer, Twitch, and YouTube, so you can choose the platform of your choice, whatever is your favorite, and watch our content. And then lastly, thanks to Learned Your Lesson for the 2 songs, mine and Mark's, in the show. And I believe that's about it. You got anything else to add, Mark?
Yeah, one thing I wanted to tell you earlier when you were talking about board games, and this is kind of out. I just for those of you that have kids, and your kids always want to play games with you, this is a great one. This is fun for the whole family. It's goofy. But it's a lot of fun. It's called Quelf, Quuelf. It's got a lot of silly stuff, which the kids will just absolutely love. Like there's things you got to do. Sometimes you'll have to every time somebody rolls a 4. Like today, my son had this one. There's these things. Every time someone rolls a 4, you have to stand up and act out like you're this weeping willow and you're crying and humming this sad song or something. And I've had one today when we played. It was like after every round, every player was done, I had to award them points. The points were completely meaningless, but I had to do it. And if I skipped one or I didn't, and any one of these things that you don't do, then you have to go backwards, and it can add up. And then there's just stuff like you don't say anything. You just got to put balance a shoe on your head for an entire round or something. It's just there's trivia type stuff, or name things, and you got to go around, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a really good game for families. So that's Quelf, Quuelf. I do recommend that one for families. Okay. So fun time.
Mark likes party games.
Yeah, well, kids are always wanting to play stuff, so it's nice to have something kind of like this. It's just funny. You never know what to expect when you have to draw cards. So, and it's just silly stuff. Yeah. Like my wife just cracked up on one today because it was like, if you had to do something, and it was somebody has to hum the theme song to Chariots of Fire. Well, the 3 kids don't even know what that movie is. But it was like, and if nobody could do it, then the family, like everybody had to streak naked around the neighborhood or something like that. And then it was like, just kidding, but you got to do something, But they were like, but find something like silly to do. My wife's like, there's no way, She's like, you better know this. And she's like, don't you know that theme song? And I'm like, oh, I've heard it a million times a long time ago. And then I'm like, and she was getting worried. I was like, I think I know what it is. And this was before I knew what she was talking about. Not that she would streak through the house, but it was just silly stuff. And it's just kind of, and I did do it. And then she had to, so the thing is, as I was humming the song, she had to get up and like pretend to slow run, and, and it was just, there's stuff you act out. And, one time, I remember I was reading the card the first time we played, and it was like, don't say anything, jump up and run through the house or something, and, get in another room, splash water on your face, and then come back, and, and then you had to say some kind of statement, like, oh, did you see that bear or something like that? So, I mean, we're sitting there and the kids are looking at me, waiting for me to, as I'm reading my cards. All of a sudden, I just run up, and I start running, and they're just like, "What the heck's going on?" And so when I come back, they're just, and I had water all over, like I was sweating. And did you see that bear? He almost got me, And it's just like they were just dying laughing. It's just fun little quirky things like that. It's just a really fun game for a family. So, and I get nothing from that. It's just sharing, sharing stuff with you guys.
If you like that silly stuff like that, there's another one, which it's interesting. It's interesting. Another party style game, so you can play with a fair amount of people. There's a hygienic aspect to this, and the game's like Watch Your Mouth or something like that. Did you ever hear about this one, Mark?
No.
So what it is you get these like mouth guard things.
And I think I have seen this.
Yeah, you put it in your mouth, so kind of like, it opens your mouth, and if you're self-conscious about your teeth, this is not the game for you, apparently, or your mouth or anything.
Yeah.
So what it is it prevents you from speaking properly, and you have to say phrases, and people have to guess what you're saying.
Oh yeah.
And it's actually funny. It's like people drool all over themselves. And
I have seen this, but I was like, I'm like, no way, because you could do it one time and that's about it. I wouldn't stick any of those things back in my mouth after that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But it did look like it'd be funny.
Yeah, I don't remember how many it comes with. Maybe it comes with one. Only one.
Share it.
Share it. Your drool and stuff.
Yeah, that's.
Ugh. But yeah, it's. They're coming out with these really funky family party games, that are little slapstick. Like there's that pie face game and this thing, and it's interesting.
Good stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, good stuff. Good family stuff. Family fun.
All right.
Better than having everybody buried in their phones or their Xboxes.
Yes, absolutely.
Family time is precious. All right.
Well, I've got nothing else. So if you don't, Rob, you got anything?
No, sir. I'm good.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in again, everybody. And Andrew, safe travels. Thank you for sticking around and watching us on your train trip from. Let me double back here. He said he was traveling from Beijing to Shanghai. So
okay,
cool. 2 places I think would be awesome to visit. So. Have a good time. If you get a chance, you're welcome to take a selfie and send it in to us. So you should get a picture on the train listening to us.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thanks. Safe travels. We'll catch you next time. Thank you guys. We'll be back next week. I am Mark, aka Wingman 709, taking off.
And I'm Rob, also known as Presar. Thanks for listening, everybody. Catch you all next week.